Today's presentation will cover the Internet of Things. Before we get started, I'd like to talk a little bit about myself. My name is Hector Avalos, and I'm an Information Management and Systems major at the University of South Carolina Upstate. I am also a member of the American Engineering Society Upstate chapter, and I aspire to be a leader in information management systems. To begin, I'd like to ask the question, what impact does the Internet of Things have on modern society, and how will it impact the future landscape of technology? Um, to begin, I'd like to define the Internet of Things, or IoT as many refer to it in our industry. IoT is defined as the connection of physical objects wired or wireless to a network. And increasingly, these objects are referred to as smart due to the nature of their communication through the network. However, it's important that in the absence of a network, these connections, these objects are incapable of communication or linked to a rapidly expanding global network that makes up the Internet of Things. So what is IoT exactly, and why is it important? IoT, as discussed earlier, is a technology that connects devices to global communication network through the exchange of data. Some examples of IoT are your smartphone, a household appliance that collects data and is able to transfer that data through other devices, smart cars and smart wearables like an Apple Watch, things like that. Smart devices can optimize the user experience by providing a seamless connection to multiple devices, like being able to control household appliances through your smartphone or tablet PCs or mobile devices. Additionally, many smart objects record and upload data to personalize the user experience. So what started the IoT? The first occurrence of IoT resulted from university students in the 1980s attempting to modify a Coca-Cola vending machine to track its contents remotely. But the actual term of the Internet of Things was not coined until 1999 by computer scientist Kevin Ashton. What are some of the effects that IoT has on society, and what are some of the unintended effects that IoT has? Some pros to IoT are increased automation, cost saving, instant data access, high productivity and efficiency. Some cons to IoT are less privacy and security, device compatibility issues, increased network complexity, and perhaps the greatest unintended effect comes from a technological issue, which is the digital divide. And that's a disparity between people who have access to network reliability and connectivity and those who do not. Increasingly, as technology progresses in developed countries, access to new technologies become unattainable to third world and developing countries that do not have the technological infrastructure to support new emerging technologies. What that means is that as more things get connected to the network and more things become a part of the IoT, these countries that do not have access to these technologies will get further and further left behind, making the greater gap difference between those that do have access to the network and those that do not, which is what they refer to as the digital divide. What are some barriers that are slowing down the progress of IoT? Perhaps the largest and most serious barrier is security. Many of these household objects or smart objects that we use in our day-to-day lives transmit personal information that in the wrong hands can be used for unintended purposes. Um, some other risks include integration. Integration is potentially the failure of one node in a network could lead to the failure of an entire system. Uh, and lastly, the costs. Smart objects tend to be higher priced than non-smart objects. And then there, of course, there's the maintenance and support for these smart objects. As more and more objects transferred into smart objects and join networks, there will be an increase in requirement for companies to hire personnel to meet the customer needs. What is the future of IoT and what happens if it fails? The future of IoT is AI, 5G, and smart cities. 5G will support high data transfer rates while providing ultra low latency. 5G to many is the backbone of IoT. It brings the capability for networks to connect at very high speeds with very high reliability. Smart cities will come equipped with smart street lights, smart traffic lights, smart utility meters, smart public transportation, smart waste management, and many more things. We'll start to hear about more about smart cities here in the near future. And then what are some widespread failures in industrial Internet of Things or IIoT? Uh, 75% of IIoT projects fail or do not meet their desired result. Companies lack the technical staff to execute large IoT projects. Projects are faced with high cost maintenance or related issues, and shipping costs, shipping delays due to COVID. In conclusion, the Internet of Things, or IoT, is a relatively emerging technology that is constantly expanding as new devices join the network. Everyday smart items become nodes in a network that make up IoT, and we inch closer and closer to a fully submersive IoT experience. What impact does it have on our society, and what new technologies are yet to emerge?